Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the always online multiplayer gaming podcast brought to you by mmorpg.com, your home for all things multiplayer gaming related. I am Mike Byrne, aka magicman, your host for today, and we're doing the show live, but it's Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern today. Don't worry, you won't have to remember that time. This is just a scheduling thing because I'm driving out of town tomorrow morning for a little vacation over the weekend with the family, so moving the show to today. Of course, you can catch us live most of the time, Fridays, 1 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/MMOBomb for this show. And then obviously I stream after. Troy's got a stream during the week. Give it a follow. You'll know every time we go live. We've got a lot to talk about today. Tower of Fantasy has been dropping video after video heading into their Q3 2022 release. But I want to know if anybody gives a rat's ass. So we'll cover that in a second, as well as some Blue Protocol. I mean, if we're going to talk about Tower of Fantasy, kind of got to say, hey, are we interested in Blue Protocol? And take a look at that. And then I've got a little bit of a mystery segment for the hosts. Joining me today to go over all the fun stuff, Mr. Troy Blackburn. What's up, Noob Fridge?
Man, I finished a couple of games on my Steam Deck already. I've started Disco Elysium now. Where you at, dog?
Yeah, mine doesn't arrive until Saturday. It arrives Saturday. I got the FedEx confirmation today. Estimated arrival Saturday. Went ahead and spent like almost $200 on a 1 terabyte micro SD stick because I was like, yeah, I'm going to need that. I'm
loading everything.
Yeah, we're just going to put everything on this thing. That'll be here Monday. I get home Monday night, so I should be all good to go. We'll see. We'll do an unboxing over on Ready Check Radio and all that fun stuff. Also here to talk about it, and news today, but also without a Steam Deck like myself, Mr. Anthony Jones. What's up, sir?
Hey, what's going on? And yes, I do not have a Steam Deck. It is like probably the coolest console or the gaming device, period, that is out right now that I need, because between the Switch and the Steam Deck, like I do not use the Switch at all. Like for nothing. only for like the high priority games, but anything else I can just go online and just go to PC and just play everything I want to play.
Yeah, I actually saw, I think I want to give credit, but I hope I'm right here. I think it was like PC Gamers. I saw an article about how somebody who wasn't particularly a PC gamer, right? They never had like a gaming rig or anything. They were generally a console gamer writing for them. Yeah. And they said, hey, the Steam Deck has now pretty much just made me start questioning whether I buy games on Steam or whether I buy them for my Switch.
Definitely.
Because they're like, building a Steam library just seems like a foolproof or a future-proof move where obviously Nintendo's going to come out with something at some point that will replace the Switch, and
then you have to buy all those things over again.
That's the hope.
Hey, let's get started with some news. Here we go. All right, let's talk about a few different coming and going titles. It's become like, last couple of weeks, it's become like a mainstay topic here, because we get a couple titles that are closing down and a couple that have just been announced. So let's start with the ones that are coming. We'll start with those. And Troy, I got one that maybe you'll be interested in. We don't know a lot about this one yet. Kind of came out of nowhere. But Alara Prime. Free-to-play, first-person shooter, Alara Prime, coming to PC. You can get into a pre-alpha test in Europe right now, but that's only until like the 17th or 15th, starting from the 15th to the 17th. So it's just going to be this weekend as it starts moving forward towards its release date. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, there are lots of hero shooters. There are lots of multiplayer shooting games. And I'm going to be honest, while the trailer is kind of nifty, if you can hear it, which obviously for copyright reasons, I'm not playing the audio in the B-roll here, it doesn't make a lot of sense without the audio. Because the audio is very like esports commentator over the top of it. But it does convey kind of the big point where this is 3 teams, Troy, 4v4v4, 3 teams all over a tactical first-person shooting map, different classes, array of gadgets, like all that stuff, using the terrain, backstab, all that stuff that you would expect, but in a 4v4v4 shell. So you've added that dynamic of it's not just beat the other team, it's beat the other 2 teams, or team up with one and trounce the third team, and then the 2 of you go after each other. It does kind of add a different dynamic.
Yeah, I always say whenever we talk about either a shooter or a battle royal or something where there's so many out there, you got to do something at least a little different.
Yep.
And this 3-team setup is very different compared to most of everything that's out there. And it's going to be interesting to see because you've got 1 team defending and then 2 teams attacking.
Yeah.
Now, I think they have to fight each other as well as trying to fight the defending team. And then there's a series of rounds where you rotate around and the next team gets to defend, and then you're on the attacking side and those 2 teams attack and everybody gets a chance to defend. So it's definitely a unique perspective. The only problem I'm seeing with it right now is what little gameplay footage is out there that I could dig up. The look of it is very generic. It still looks like every other shooter out there. And it looks like the game engine is maybe a little on the cheaper side. So I'm a little concerned with the look and how the animations and the gameplay are going to actually play out, even if the concept sounds on paper like a really good idea.
It is pre-alpha. All right, to be a little bit fair. I mean, that doesn't mean they can like wildly change the aesthetic of the game, but as far as
they can still clean up animations and unstiff animations,
right, that type of stuff. Like the art style is the art style. That's unlikely to change. But things like the animations or the edging, the shaders, those quality of graphic improvement things normally come a little later. This is kind of a pre-alpha weekend. Anthony, does this maybe tickle your fancy, get you a little bit interested in it? Coming from Fall Damage is the company behind it.
Yeah, I actually looked into this a little bit, and I looked at the gameplay trailer, and it sells the experience of like a CS:GO mixed with Valorant, mixed with some Rainbow Six Siege. Like it mixes like so many different aspects of like multiple games, and I feel like it's gonna be like a hit starting out, but I think going into like what makes it different and the longevity of the game and how clean it looks, the animations, I feel like all of that is going to really make it to where if it's going to last longer or not. Because it's made by, if I remember correctly, it's made by 4X Dice devs or something like that. So there is like some measure of like experience here, but I wonder like how much can they expand on this idea with just like 4 of them. And if they get such a big backing, and we've seen in the past like dev teams who get like such an explosion of numbers, like how are they going to keep up with that demand of players?
Well, I mean, the team is more than 4.
It's more than 4.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I must have read that was started by
exactly. Yeah.
At first,
so it was. Absolutely. I mean, their team is actually pretty big for a small, if that makes sense. Pretty big for a smaller team, Troy.
For a small team.
For a small team, it's pretty big. No, I'm looking at 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. 52 people on their crew page, running the gamut of HR and talent acquisition, studio management, design, animation, audio, coding, like all the different departments. So it's a little over 50 heads on their crew page. They probably have a couple more that just haven't been added to the page yet either. I gotta say, I'm generally not very interested, obviously, in first-person shooters. It just generally, it doesn't strike my fancy. Like, I don't do Apex Legends or, Valorant or anything like that. But when you say the word tactical first-person shooter, I start to get a little more interested, Troy. I'm definitely not into like the Quakes and the super Twitch-based shooters, right? Mm-hmm. I've never been any good at them and never wanted to put the time into it to be good. But the kind of somewhat slower, like obviously not crawling, but the somewhat slower, more tactical stuff where positioning matters, height matters, neat little camping, sniping spots to take 2 shots, get 2 kills, and then book it to the next one. I do like that type of gameplay. And they did say that here, but the gameplay trailer kind of looks a little bit the other way for me.
I was going to
I'm
say,
not
it
sure how to
doesn't
take
look
it.
tactical. They say tactical, and I'm scared that that's just going to be the point aspect of it. Because, like you said, the gameplay trailer itself, it looked like a lot of other shooters out there, minus the 3v3 thing or the 4v4v4 thing.
I guess the tactical side of it would kind of boil down to the gadgets, because they kind of made a focus to kind of show the
They did
different
focus that a little bit, didn't they?
gadgets and how the defenders act versus the attackers and kind of what their kit is. And I mean, I feel like it's not entirely fleshed out yet. So they might be, I don't know, they might be in the middle of like trying to see how it's going to play out with this alpha test and then kind of go from there, is what I feel. But
We'll
I feel
see.
like the trailer was meant to hype it up and kind of get more people invested first.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're not in Europe, so we can't take part in this weekend's test, but you can check out the article on mmobomb.com if you are one of our European brethren or brethren, I don't know, readers. There we go. If you're one of our European readers, then you can go ahead and sign up using the link that we have in the article to take part in their pre-alpha weekend test. And let us know what you think. Throw it in the comments below. If you've been watching this, or maybe you've even played it in a testing phase, definitely let us know what you think. Coming up, Q3 2022 is the estimated release window right now for Tower of Fantasy. Now, this is one of those more anime-inspired games that has been touted and watched for a long time. Now, it is finally the dog days of development headed into release here, hopefully, soon. So we've seen over the last week a kind of a world reveal trailer taking you around the world of, I think they call it Ada. And then just a day or two ago, we got a battle / gameplay. It was like battle scene trailer. So we're getting a look at all of the stuff that Tower of Fantasy has to offer. Now, if you're not familiar with Tower of Fantasy, this is, obviously people are going to make comparisons to Genshin Impact. From everything I know about it and everything I've seen and researched, this, I would actually personally skew it a little more towards Honkai Impact, being very similar to that. But I can absolutely see why people are going to compare it to Genshin, or maybe even, which one's going to win because of the art style. And it's got that same type of gacha gameplay where you're trying to get, in this case, you're trying to get characters, but that actually ends up equaling the weapon. It's not getting a new character. That's just kind of a skin. You do create your own character. It is that very single-player RPG-ish feel, a la a Honkai Impact or a Genshin from Hoyoverse. There is going to be PvP, though, in this, both in the open world and ranked, which I think does warrant a little bit of discussion when we start talking about it being one of those gacha games where you're doing pools and banners to try and get the items or characters that you want. Is this one you've been watching, Anthony? Are you interested in it? Actually, we've never even talked about like whether you play Honkai Impact 3rd or Genshin or any of the games that kind of fall in this same genre. So I'll just let you go.
Well, I will say that our other writer, Rose,
oh yeah,
me and her, we talk a lot about kind of like these gacha games here and there.
Yeah, because she's a super Genshin fan. Genshin fan.
It's like tug of war with me. Like, I love the aesthetic and the vibe, the effects. Like, it's all just like, it's up my alley in terms of like flashiness, but also just like a rule of cool. Like, the animators put so much work into it. But it's like the ethics of these games I cannot get behind at all. And that's what it really boils down to for me. So it's just like,
so you would say that they don't gotcha?
No, they don't got me. They don't quit. But I will try.
You can't quit. Shut up.
I'll try for the sake of the fact that I enjoy the look of the combat. I enjoy kind of the presentation. It's very clean. It's just these games I know that I can't play it for too long because there's just these incentives of like pooling and banners and so on and so forth that I don't really enjoy. I kind of like more of a full experience. I don't like the just mindlessly kind of just like every day, daily kind of just pull things back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm not too much of a mobile player.
Here's the thing. I don't like the manipulation aspect of pulling and banners and monetization and stuff like that. I do believe they are predatory and go after a very particular audience and things like that. I personally don't have a problem playing those types of games. Like, I just don't give a rat's ass. I'm like, oh, that's how much? Nah, I'm good. I'm good, thanks. Oh, it's a 1 in 7 bajillion chance? Yeah, go fly a kite. I'm not interested. Like, so that I've never been compelled to like pull in Genshin Impact and stuff. I did enjoy Genshin Impact for the RPG elements of it. The open world, just go explore, go do your thing. Whether you have these particular characters or you don't, it really doesn't matter. Like, you can, and it's 99% single player anyway, besides maybe you're, bringing people into your own world for hanging out with friends. So, like, the game itself really didn't bother me, and I loved the aesthetic. I'm right with you. I love the aesthetic, and Tower of Fantasy, I do like the aesthetic as well. I tell you all of that, Troy, to get to the bottom line of I'm already just, like, mediocre watching it to begin with. But after we get your take on it, I'm going to tell you why I absolutely don't care about Tower of Fantasy. I'm not indifferent to it like I am a Genshin Impact or a Honkai Impact Third or anything like that. But I'll let you go first.
If it wasn't for the monetizations and stuff like that, gacha games would probably be pretty addictive to me. I look back at something like Marvel Heroes, and one of the reasons I liked Marvel Heroes so much as an ARPG was all the different heroes you could collect as you went along, and you unlock the next guy, and you played him, and that was a lot of my sort of attraction to that game, was getting that next hero that I haven't played yet. But with all the monetization and everything, and then as we've talked about many times, anime isn't necessarily something that attracts me. It's not something I'm generally looking for, not generally something that I enjoy a whole lot. So for me, this one's really on the outside. I'm on the outside looking in, just kind of hearing what everybody else has to say. If somebody was to say it's really phenomenal, I might jump in and check it out. But I don't know that that's going to necessarily be the case. There are going to be the folks who like that type of game style who probably like this game, but I don't know that it's going to appeal to those of us who aren't necessarily already into this type of game.
Yeah, when you get the PC and the mobile crossover and stuff like that, you already kind of dumb things down in your brain, right? Right or wrong, you're just like, oh, it's going to be crossplay with mobile. That means it's probably not going to be super optimized on the PC. Control schemes might suffer a little bit because it needs to be controlled on both, et cetera, et cetera. If you're into Genshin Impact, this is probably definite, or Honkai Impact Third, which I think it's closer to that, my personal opinion, than Genshin, then you're probably going to be interested in this. I have zero interest in this because Hoda Studio has already just been caught up in the dumbest of dumb things before this game has even released. And I don't want to belabor every single point here, but they once released a trailer for this that featured a character holding a weapon that was ripped out of Honkai Impact. And then when they got busted by Third fans all over the place, they reissued that trailer with the character not having the sword on his back, but he still reaches for it. He still reaches for something that isn't there. And then they issued an apology statement, but their apology was like, wasn't me. They blamed the people that they said they outsourced the trailer to. They said they'd like sent over placeholder stuff and it ended up making it. And it's like, okay, fine. One, why was that placeholder stuff? And two, did you watch it when they sent it back? Like, did you watch it? Then
why would that be placeholder stuff to begin with?
Right. I mean, it was just straight ripped from another game.
Yeah.
Then they had a bunch of bots posting reviews for them. Raised their rating from like a 2.8, 2.9, something like that, to almost a 4 in a very, very quick time period. And then when people started examining it, they ripped the reviews off of Genshin Impact's review page. Uh, the bots didn't even just slam a bunch of fake reviews up. They ripped Genshin Impact reviews and changed the game name in the reviews if they were referenced. Then they got busted again, releasing a trailer that, hey, it was all their own assets, but it was almost a shot-for-shot remake of a trailer from an anime.
I saw that. That was so bad.
Character running and then doing this. Like, it was almost, the timing was the only difference on the entire thing. That they didn't even apologize for. They just pulled the trailer down for. I don't have time. Like, I don't have time to be messing with a game that its developers are that shady before it's even come out. Like, I just don't have the time. There are way too many other options. Your game ain't that damn good in my brain. It just isn't.
Look, and their worst abomination of all. Have you been to their website, their main website?
No.
There's a music player on it. It was like MySpace flashbacks.
Oh, when you automatically go to the site and it plays music.
Yes.
I remember
and
that.
I was just like, what the hell?
You put your favorite song on your MySpace page.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't really understand why I go through all those hoops. If the game's good, just focus on the game. Like what happened to just doing the game?
Well, then you have the question of, okay, so in ranked PvP and stuff like that, it scales. So it doesn't matter whether you're a free-to-play player or you're a gacha, pool maniac in that regard, right? Because it's going to scale the abilities, the levels, and all that fun stuff to normalize everybody. But here's the thing. Some weapons / characters are just better than others. These games, when they get to PvP, they have a meta, right? They have a meta. It's like a TCG when I'm playing Final Fantasy TCG or League of Legends, or like there is a meta that is, hey, this is the most powerful team combination right now. And until buffs and nerfs come out, most of the top ranked players. Now, that doesn't mean that the whales, right, were able to buy their way to success. They were just, because it's still RNG, the pools, and everybody's normalized. But it just means that, hey, if you want to get a meta character, meta weapon for PvP right now, you either have to do a lot of pools or as a free-to-play player, get very, very lucky. So it doesn't mean like stat-wise you're at a disadvantage, but meta-wise, you very well can be if you're not pulling and having the meta weapon or meta character already in your inventory every time there's a buff or a nerf, and the meta changes a little bit. So while I can't really say pay to win, I can say that in my estimation, this skews heavily towards high-paying players having an advantage because they're more likely to have whatever the current meta is in their stable, Troy.
Yeah.
We don't talk a lot about Blue Protocol here, but I did feel like we should mention and talk about Blue Protocol while we're talking about Tower of Fantasy. Now, that being said, we don't know if Bandai Namco's Blue Protocol is like ever going to release, right? They've said it's going to. They've been hiring for localization and global release stuff. Then we haven't heard anything for a while. A few months ago, they mentioned it in a hiring blitz as something they're working on. So let's just assume the game will come out and that it will come out west, right? And I don't want to put these two in the same genre because Blue Protocol is very much more MMORPG, right? Zone to zone, lots of people and other players everywhere. It is not like Tower of Fantasy as far as that game design philosophy. They are in different genres, but it does have that very anime-inspired look to it and some action-y combat-looking stuff. And we don't know a whole ton, but I've been watching Blue Protocol for a very long time. I do want that game to come out. I am on the total opposite side with Blue Protocol as I am Tower of Fantasy. Tower of Fantasy can go burn in hellfire as far as I'm concerned. Blue Protocol.
I've been watching a little bit of gameplay footage of Blue Protocol, and a lot of it's like sword and board, and they can only be like level 1 and low level stuff like that. But the animation and the attacks and stuff like that, everything looks super cool. Like it actually in an art style that doesn't usually attract my attention. Like this actually looks like something that I might actually like to play.
Yeah, yeah, I'm of the same opinion as Mike. I mean, when it comes to Tower of Fantasy, like I mean,
we're
there are things I
gonna
like
play it
about
because
it.
it's our job, but after that, I'm done. Right?
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like that because Blue Protocol is more kind of up my alley. I enjoy, like, even though right now the combat from like videos and stuff like that looks very, as you were saying, Troy, it was very sword and board. It's very limited in scope right now, so you can't really tell how far it's gonna go. But in terms of like the aesthetic of it, the animation, the
The traversal of the world.
controversial, like how you can kind of move around in the environments. Like you just like, I feel like this is a game for people who like to enjoy those small moments of like going from place to place and kind of just expanding your traversal over time. And I mean, maybe the combat will, pick up as that goes along. But I think it definitely appeals to a lot of people more than I would say Tower and Fantasy.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely a broader audience on this
yeah,
one, I'd
yeah.
say.
Well, is it though? Look at how huge Genshin is.
I mean,
You're talking about Blue Protocol, which is very, at least from everything we've seen and heard and revealed, is going to be very skewing towards the more traditional MMORPG side of things. Typical cash shop with cosmetics and, grind out levels, do dungeons, that type of stuff. Then you've got Tower of Fantasy, which has maybe a very similar aesthetic, maybe arguably, when it's all said and done, we don't know for sure, but a similar combat structure, but is very Honkai Impact third. Do your gacha pools, predominantly single player. You don't really see a lot of people everywhere besides some smaller areas for some open world PvP. But look at how big Genshin Impact is from Hoyoverse right now versus other games. It's obviously setting aside Final Fantasy XIV and maybe WoW, if its audience has rebounded in any way, shape, or form yet. Is Blue Protocol likely to be the one that draws a bigger audience, do you think?
I think so, because it has the MMORPG label, I think is going to be a big part of. We've seen it time and time again, whether it's a good game or not, that hype that comes with the import of the next big MMORPG, and especially one that has been years in the making and everybody's been sitting and waiting on it. It always gets the big hype train whenever it comes in. Sorry, Anthony, go ahead.
I don't know, man. Genshin is... Hoyoverse is still counting the money from the first 6 months of Genshin Impact launching. I mean, that's how much they got. Like, they're still like, oh my God.
Well, that's because they have 6 people that finance the entire studio. They're whales.
I mean, yeah, it's a well company for well players. I mean, what can I say? I mean, definitely Blue Protocol. I would say I say broader in the sense of that it kind of falls in the vein of how Genshin Impact had those kind of Breath of the Wild vibes to it, and Blue Protocol kind of follows that. And a lot of open world games that are anime inspired, they're following that trend. And I feel like that resonates with a lot of people, like on a broader scale, who don't really play Genshin Impact and stuff like that. So
to count the chat like only... Jay-Z, I'm still spending money from 98. That's Hoyoverse right now. They're just like, oh my God, there's so many yen laying around. Can we just clean this up? All these dollar bills and yen. I mean, we get it from all over the world. All over the world. I think if I had to bet money right now, I'd say Tower of Fantasy probably draws really well early. Blue Protocol slow burns it out of existence as far as player base goes. I think Bandai Namco's just they're good. They're good right now. They're good, and I hope that Blue Protocol is too. I can't wait. 2 games leaving us. Well, I guess one of them isn't leaving us. It's not technically leaving us, Anthony. It's going into a maintenance mode. What do we got going on here?
Maintenance mode. Yeah, sounds very in the grave like. Basically, Heroes in a Storm is basically dead at this point. I mean, it's been dead for...
All right, like, legit question. Hasn't it been dead for a while?
It's been casually...
They killed the esports side. This game has been in mass exodus mode.
Yeah. esports side, it has been very dead. I've been kind of reading up on this story, and apparently players have been saying that like Blizzard was trying to get this into the esports scene. They wanted to make it
Oh
hardcore.
yeah.
It's a very casual game with a lot of like
It's a
fun
very
modes.
casual game. That's
Yeah,
what surprises me the most about they wanted to be a hardcore esport. If they'd have
yeah.
never started the esports side of it, I think this game would be better off right now than what it is.
Yeah, their scope was definitely outside of like what they developed, and that's what ended up being their downfall, essentially. And I mean, they haven't made any new content since they brought out this character called Hogger like 2 years ago or
Yeah,
around
buddy. Hogger for the win.
there. And they made balance changes, but I mean, it's made the game more rounded out. But there just really isn't nothing new and exciting to bring in newer people. You got a big competition to compete with. You got League of Legends, you got Dota 2. Like, what are you gonna do, to really stand out on that? And if you want to be casual, rep that. But like the strategy for the game just really just not didn't
And
work
that's
out.
and that's what they should have done from the beginning, like I said a minute
Yep.
ago, to set themselves
Mhm.
apart. But you got League of Legends, you got Dota 2. Those are the two hardcore esports MOBAs out there. Those are the two that people care about. They was too crowded. You should have
Mhm.
leaned into the casual aspects of your game and really supported that and got the more casual crowd invested in your game long term. Instead, and Mike, it's hard for a game to leave us if we've already left it.
Got him. Got him.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Pearl Abyss is shutting down Shadow Arena. That's the Black Desert Online inspired battle royale. Before it's even left early access, like it never made it out. Friends got trapped in early access, not releasing. Closing it down, saying it's an inadequate in offering a unique experience. Now, here's the thing. I actually kind of liked combat in this. I'm not a huge Battle Royale guy, but I did enjoy the combat in this. But the game itself wasn't. There's like so many game modes, and nobody was playing it. It was like, just make one game. How about just the Battle Royale mode? Let's get that working
Right.
first.
Just pick one and go.
Now, we posted the story after a nod, by the way, to MMO Fallout and Massively, who dug this up first, and then that's where I saw it, so I wanted to make sure that I gave them credit. But Pearl Abyss did reach out to us directly after we posted our story because they wanted to add additional context to the statement that they had put in their Steam post. And so they sent us this separate statement that I believe, I don't know if they sent it to anybody else, but here you go. They said, unfortunately, after long deliberation, we have decided to stop the journey of Shadow Arena, first introduced as an action battle content in Black Desert, which it was, then it became its own spin-off thing. Shadow Arena was an opportunity to provide our users with a new gameplay experience. With the experience gained through Shadow Arena, we will focus on better game service and development in the future. And you know what? Their first like Steam thing was, the generic. It was a really long post. Like, you could feel the devs loved the game because they were talking about, like, here's old screenshots versus what we have today, and here's different lessons we learned. It was very interesting to read, but at the end of the day, it was just like, yeah, it was inadequate. I actually appreciated their additional statement. It was kind of just like acknowledging, hey, Troy, we kind of failed with this one, but we're going to walk away with lessons learned and use those in the future. They didn't blame it on like the game not receiving the acclaim it deserved, which is still a famous line I absolutely love. So I kind of got to respect them a little bit. Sad to see it go, but not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're not sitting around trying to milk a bad game and build a bad reputation over, having unfinished, unreleased games that are just sitting there. Just let it go, move on. Hopefully learn your lessons and produce something better next time you go around.
Did you ever play this one,
That's
Anthony?
life.
I have. I don't. No. I don't think I have. I
It's
don't
so
think I have.
generic, he can't remember if he's played it or not. He's like,
No. I don't think I have, but I have heard of this. It was kind of low key for me because I don't really play battle royale-esque games as often. I mean, the only one I've ever really played was Fortnite. But
yep.
anyway, I mean, I think they have my respect for, just admitting that, hey, this vision did not work out. Let us go to something else.
I gotta say, I liked it in the respect of it was, very sword and board, magic spells. This was not go pick up the assault rifle and shotgun and go battle royale game. But it also really devolved pretty quickly into whoever gets their stun off first is gonna win the confrontation. And that just got really annoying for me.
Yeah, I saw videos and I do have, I mean, I had some opinions about it when it came to like the combat and how certain characters might have an initiative over others when it comes to abilities and so on and so forth. Um, but I feel like that was also kind of like one of the highlights of it, just having the positives and negatives of, who you have or who you're working with as a character and kind of over time getting better at that. Sorry, the cat is like
Your
freaking
cat is going ape shit behind you, and it's amazing.
But yeah, I think it was an interesting idea, but I think it was just too late. That whole genre is like so saturated now. Maybe
Oh yeah.
when Black Desert was like a little bit early in its years, maybe they could have tried something more. Because I know people were saying they wanted some more kind of like PvP in-game stuff, in the actual Black Desert MMO sandbox game. So I don't know.
Maybe they're about to get Shadow Arena back. That's
Maybe.
where it started. Maybe that's where it ends. Maybe that's where it ends.
That's probably where it should have stayed. It probably would have been better off there.
Oh man, you got him again. Damn, you are harsh tonight.
I speak the truth, baby.
Yeah, you speak the truth. Let's hey, let's look behind the scenes at game development, MMORPG development, gents. I don't know about you, but when you make an MMORPG, right, a World of Warcraft, a Final Fantasy, a Rift, anything like that. Rift? What the hell am I talking about Rift for? Aion. When you make that and you decide you're going to add PvP, that could be pretty challenging, right, Anthony? You got like 5 classes, 8 classes, 10 classes, whatever it is. They all got their skills. They all got their stats. Everybody's got their gear. That could be difficult to balance, I bet, for a developer. I bet that could be pretty damn challenging. Well, here's a way you could fix it. Make it a lot easier, Troy. Do PvP in your MMORPG, but don't let people use their characters.
That's that meme where the guy he's pointing at his head.
That's the big brain play right there, huh? That's the big brain play. Aion is going to be adding the hero system. Now, I believe this already came out in the European version or is just about to come out, and then it's going to come here in the Western version or the US version later. But they're going to be replacing basically their PvP that has existed for all of these years, balanced or as unbalanced as it may be. I don't know, and I don't think anybody else does. They're going to replace that with the hero system. This is a way for you to take part in PvP, but to ensure a fair fight by, not letting you use your character, because all of those skills are really tough to balance. So instead, here's a few pre-made characters with pre-made skill sets that we can just tweak a little bit as we go, as the meta evolves a little bit, and then call it a day. Anthony, I guess that's one way to balance your MMORPG's PvP?
It's definitely an interesting take. I mean, it's basically as if you put a different multiplayer game inside your MMORPG, but for the PvP side. It's very interesting, and I'm curious to see how it rolls out. But also, I think it's a bit weird because why would you want to play as some other character when you have your own character?
Exactly. You've spent
You-
all this
I
time in
spent
an
all that
MMORPG. You build a
Yeah.
relationship with your characters. If you're a person who likes MMOs, you have relationships with your characters. You want your characters to go on these adventures. You want your characters to get all the glory, and you want your characters to do all the dying. You want your guys, not some random dudes. This might as well just be another PvP game on Steam, another free-to-play download generic PvP game. And let me put this forward. If your PvP was that bad, nobody was playing it, you got to completely revamp it. Does every MMORPG have to have PvP? Really? If nobody cares about it, then why not just take it out and quit dealing with it? I like the way, if you're gonna do PvP, I like the way Guild Wars 2 does it, where it's your character, it's your guy, it's your class, it's your ability choices, but all the gear is wiped for structured PvP. You're all on the same level as far as what your gear would be. There's no gear advantage to anybody for any reason. It's all about what your class does and sort of your build and your setup, the way you want to play it. But as far as this, no, I don't want to spend all my time playing my character that I like and that I enjoy, just to go into PvP so I can pick something that I've never seen before.
Dude, I absolutely love my character. We spent so much time together. Now sit in
Bro.
the bleachers and watch.
I don't know if you know, but my characters are the chosen ones, and they're the only ones who can save the universe, even though at the end of the day, when I go back and somebody talks about this great feat that I did, they're going to talk about a party of heroes. Like I wasn't there.
I forgot to play some Blue Protocol B-roll, so I'm just going to let that roll while we finish talking about it. I totally forgot to cue it up.
People,
if you needed to see some Blue Protocol while we finish this topic, I can't decide if this is genius or if they're about to lay staff off. Because this Aion came out in the United States in 2009, right? It was released overseas in 2008. So we're talking about a 13, 14-year-old MMORPG that by all counts, right, it is in its sunsetting days, right? May close tomorrow, might last another 3 years. Who knows? But it ain't getting any bigger than it really is right now at this point anymore. There's not a huge influx and outflux of player population. So did they just bring on some developers to establish a new feature? Or did they bring on their developers to establish this new feature so that then they are no longer needed? Anybody in this office work on PvP? Raise your hands. All right, cool. Once the hero system launches, go home.
We pretending like there still isn't going to be balance issues?
Oh, of course there will be.
Yeah, this doesn't solve all of your problems. There's still going to be balance between all these classes, as homogenized as they may be and as basic as they may be. One class versus another, one's going to turn out to be super strong, and that's what everybody plays, and you're going to have to balance that back out. It's still going to have the same problems every other PvP version does.
Yep. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see if it pans out, but I don't think it's going to. Don't think it's going to. All right. Last piece here before we head over to the bombs. Evil Dead, the game. Troy, you are doing a first look on this game. I've actually played it a little bit. I do enjoy it, but I like those asymmetrical Friday the 13th, the game type stuff.
When they're done right, they're super fun.
And we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre a version coming out soon, too. Then we have Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, that version coming out. We're all kind of excited and interested in that one. Evil Dead, I enjoy it. Troy's going to be doing the first look. I gifted it to him yesterday by sending him money on PayPal because Epic Game Store does not allow you to gift things to people.
There is no gifting on Epic Game Store.
No, I sent him a message. I was like, I gifted you $43. Check your PayPal.
By the way, it costs 69 cents more than that, so I'll send you a bill.
Oh, see, Nintendo, that's unfair. Saying, didn't the failure of Friday the 13th not tell the developer anything? Friday the 13th, the game was actually extremely successful for a few months or so after it launched. Unfortunately, it was doing very, very well. It was a blast to play. I loved it. My family loved it. They got caught up in the whole lawsuit over the movies and the characters. The developer, unfortunately, was given an order that they had to cease development of any new costumes, characters, like they were not allowed to develop anything for the game anymore. Right as it was starting to do really, really well. And that murdered it. That was by the original author of the original Friday the 13th. He was suing over the rights for the Jason character. And it locked the movies and games down from development for years while that was... actually, that just recently got settled. So that, unfortunately, the game got caught up in that needlessly, but... It's not fair to say that one failed because of the developers. It was on a great track until nothing else could be developed anymore for it. Yeah. But Evil Dead, yes, if you are a fan of Evil Dead, we've got a new map for you. The Castle Kandar from Army of Darkness. Yes, buddy. There's some other Army of Darkness locales and stuff in there, free for anybody that owns the game, so Troy will be sure to include it in the first look. And you're not able to hear it in the trailer that I'm showing here. But did you guys listen to this? Like, the audio doesn't sound mixed right. Like, Bruce Campbell has a voiceover at the beginning and the end of this trailer, and it sounds like he's in a hallway screaming down the hallway, and the mixer guy did not normalize any of the audio.
I think
really
that's the problem.
weird.
I think it didn't get normalized in with everything else. It
It's
stands
really
out too much from everything else.
It's really weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. They need to QA that.
All right. Before we head over the weekly bombs, I got a little surprise segment for you, gentlemen. I have 7 video game news headlines. Okay, 7. They don't have to be multiplayer or free to play. It's just gaming in general. 7 news headlines. I'm going to give you them, and I want you to tell me if they are actually a legit headline that was published somewhere, or if we just made that shit up.
Oh,
Chat,
gosh.
feel free to play. YouTube, go ahead, keep score for you. There are 7 of them. Let us know in your weekly bombs or your question of the week answers that you put in the comments how many out of 7 you got. If you're 2 out of 7, go ahead. Dub bomb for this, 3 out of 7. Let us know in the comments below. We'll see who does the best. Are you ready, gentlemen?
Let's do this.
Do it.
Troy, you'll get the first guess at the first one, and then we'll alternate. Anthony, you'll take first on the first guess on the second one.
Okay.
Here's your first headline, video game headline. Warcraft couple that married in-game is also handling divorce proceedings in Azeroth. Is that a real headline, or did we make that shit up, Troy?
Oh my God. I felt like
Warcraft couple that married in-game is also handling divorce proceedings in Azeroth.
I think I'm gonna say that's true.
You can say that's true. A couple people chiming in chat saying probably true, saying real. What do you got, Anthony? True
Sounds like
or
something
not?
some nerds would do.
Oh man, I'm gonna say true. I'm gonna be chaotic.
2 trues on the board. A bunch of people in chat saying true. That one, we totally made it up. Totally made it up. Totally made it up. But
I could totally see
there's a
some
couple
nerds
out there
doing
that'll
that.
do
Though
it.
divorce, they got married in game, so now they got to get a divorce in game.
yeah, Jason and I did speculate, though, that if that were to happen, the lawyers would definitely be playing Tarans. Absolutely. All right, Anthony, you get first guess at headline number 2. Christian video game developers blame Satan for their failures. Is that a real headline, or did we make that shit up? Christian video game developers blame Satan for their failures.
I'm gonna say true again. This is a loophole. I'm gonna say true.
This is a loophole. Troy, what do you think?
Oh man, don't get me started. I'm gonna say that's made up. I'm gonna say that one's made up.
You gonna say that one's made up? Anthony, you are on the board first, 1-0. That is true. That was the headline from the friendlyatheist.pathos.com, who was also quoting an actual interview done with Polygon, where the author on Polygon's site literally asked, like, are you being serious, or are you and literally documented in their piece how serious those developers were when they said it. They weren't just like kind of tongue-in-cheek, oh yeah, no, it was dead serious. All right, so you are up 1-0, Anthony. Troy, you get to go first on this one. Sony abandoned plans to measure gamer sweat on PS4 controllers. Is that a real headline, or did we make that up?
Made up.
You think that's made up? Man, you sound damn sure on that one. All right, maybe we didn't fool you there. Go ahead. What do you think, Anthony?
I'm gonna say made up too.
You're going to say, both say made up. We got Nintendo saying false, Ninja saying made up, Baron saying false, Takal saying true, and Takal is right. This is a real headline from 2013.
Terrible at this game.
Yeah, this was actually on the Verge, theverge.com in 2013. They were talking to Sony about what they were doing with their controllers, or what they would plan to do with their PS4 controllers prior to release. When what were you thinking of adding other features? They were actually doing experimentation with, like, can we make you nervous and get your palms sweaty? And that was the exact headline for the article. Sony abandoned plans to measure gamer sweat on PS4 controllers. Anthony, there are 4 left, and you are still in the lead.
All right.
You get to go first. 21-year-old gamer lands a job as a football manager after playing Football Manager. Is that a real headline, or did we make that up?
Oh, man.
21-year-old gamer lands a job as a football manager after playing Football Manager. Obviously, for you Americans, that's soccer.
It sounds so familiar. I want to say made up.
Made up. Troy? Did
Like
somebody get so good at Football Manager that they got hired?
I'm going to say true.
You going to say true? All right.
I need a point.
Somebody's going to get a point. Does Anthony pull ahead 2-0, or does Troy tie it?
Either he's going up or I'm tying it up. Let's go.
Troy's tying it up. This happened. Not only...
that sounded so familiar. I'm with
familiar.
Anthony. That sounded familiar.
This was Uber Gizmo's headline, but a bunch of people covered the story back in 2012 when legitimately a 21-year-old who was very, very good for a very long time at Football Manager got hired and did some assistant management football managing for Azerbaijan clubs for a little over 2 years, actually. So it wasn't just flash in the pan. That one is true. That one is absolutely true. Now we've got a tie game. Troy, you're up. Headline number 5. We got 3 left in a tie game. New French studio vows to be, quote, the Ubisoft of porn games, end quote. New French studio vows to be the Ubisoft of porn games. Is this a real headline, or did we make it up?
Gotta be true. That's gotta be true.
Why is it gotta be true?
Somebody's gotta want to be the Ubisoft of porn games.
Anthony, what do you think? Both of you going
familiar.
true. Both of you going true. This one's false. We made this one up.
Oh, my gosh. I can't go by.
We made this one up, and when Jason and I were talking about
I actually wanted to be the EA of porn games.
Right, yeah. When Jason and I were talking about it, because Jason helped with the headlines there, we said that the only reason this one works is because we put Ubisoft in there. If we had put any other company in there, people would have been like, nah, that's false. That's not real. That's not real.
Tori the chicken in chat, why would anybody want to be the Ubisoft of anything, basically?
All right, there are 2 left, and you are both tied at 1. Anthony, you get to go first on this one. Kidnappers trade victim for an Xbox 360. Is this a real headline? This one makes me laugh. Kidnappers trade victim for an Xbox 360. Is this a real gaming headline? Yes or no?
You know, I'm going to say true.
You're going to say true. All right, Troy, off to you. Did kidnappers trade a victim for an Xbox 360?
I think this one's true as well.
We got 2 trues in a tie game. This is true. This happened, and it is actually one of the most bizarre stories that I think I have read in a long time. So this was on Gizmodo back in, I don't remember the year, but it was like a while ago. It was a 360, right? So this guy kidnapped his employee, who was actually his brother or son-in-law, I don't remember which at the moment, because he thought he stole like $200 or $300 worth of rings. They took him to a garage. They beat him up a little bit. They roughed him up to try and get him to confess. He wouldn't. And they let him call his next door neighbor, who offered his 360 as a trade. They met in a fucking field. And they did like the movie, like, you know, start walking towards them, walk the Xbox towards us. Like, they did the whole thing. Within hours afterwards, they got arrested.
Wow.
Hours later. Totally true.
360.
All right, last one. Tie game. You both have 1 out of 6. So the highest you could do is 2 out of 7, and we'll see how many in chat and in the comments on YouTube and MMO Bomb tell the truth here. Troy, you get to go first. Parents protest Indiana elementary school's Splatoon tournament. Parents protest Indiana elementary school's Splatoon tournament. Indiana, for our overseas visitors or viewers, is a state here in the United States.
I'm going to say true. That sounds ridiculous enough to be true.
Says parents protest Indiana elementary school's Splatoon tournament is true. Anthony, true or false?
Splatoon, though. Why not Fortnite? I'm going to say false.
Gonna say false.
Somebody's winning.
Somebody is about to win. It's tied 1-1.
2 out of 7.
One of you is going to win the game 2 out of 7, and the other one's going to lose 1 out of 7. Absolutely stellar. Stellar. Troy, you say true. Anthony, you say false. Congratulations, Anthony. That one is made up. 2 out of 7, Anthony. Well done. Let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. If you like stuff like that, gang, let us know in the comments below when you give us your score and your weekly bombs and all that. We definitely could do more of it. If you like that kind of stuff, just let us know. Let's go weekly bombs. Anthony, you're first.
Well, I'm going to say, dub bomb to something that we didn't ever actually cover, but I'm kind of interested in playing this new God of War. I'm not a hype man, but I played the older God of Wars, so I kind of was born off of those, even though I shouldn't have been playing them. And I'm very interested to see where they go because I know some of the writers on the Santa Monica team, and I'm kind of excited to see what they cook up.
Nice. What you got, Troy?
I'm going to give an early dub bomb to Albion Online on the Steam Deck. I'm surprised at how well it plays and how it's got me interested in a game that, based on what the game is, I should really be more into it than what I am. But for some reason on the PC, I just get bored sitting and doing some of the things that's not as engaging as some of the gathering and stuff. And say what you will about New World, but it had engaging gathering. And I've really found myself enjoying sitting on the couch, laying in the bed, playing a little bit of Albion Online. Like I said, I'm still very early on into it on the Steam Deck, but so far I've liked what I've seen.
5th anniversary of that game. We just posted that news today. They're getting ready to celebrate 5th. They've got events. They've got a stream tomorrow. They've got events over the next week or two. So if you are an Albion fan, happy birthday. Happy birthday. I'm going to give an A-bomb to Tower of Fantasy. I'm sorry. I can't care about a game that has that many issues in integrity before it's even released. Sorry. From chat, Ninja Panda says, A-bomb to the heat wave that's currently hitting the UK and Europe. It's too bloody hot. Plus, I got 2 out of 7 right. Kyle says, A-bomb to my job. I got my ass up at 5:20 to get to work at 6, and the system was down all day. I could have stayed my happy butt in bed. Nintendo says, A-bomb to COVID, hitting me a second time. I'm bored to death. Oh, that sucks. Man. Sorry to hear that. Tori the Chicken says, dub bomb to D&D. Finished my first campaign this weekend after 1 year. Super fun game. Hell yeah. Welcome back. On YouTube and on the site, RS Jabber says, A-bomb to Destiny 2's campaign. Bought the old expansions on Steam sale, started a new character, played for a bit. Next day I log in, expecting to continue where I left off, and the game plays some cinematic, throws me into some mission with characters I don't know. Please just stop. The plot's already confusing as it is. Let me play and discover the story in the correct order. Yeah, Destiny's really good at that.
Destiny. The troubling story, the weird events that happens. I mean, it's never ending. It's been happening since the first game.
Yeah, I don't know who it was, but somebody had like tweeted or retweeted like, what is the thing you want unvaulted the most from Destiny 2's vault? And from MMO Bomb's account, I quote tweeted and said, all of it. We already paid for it. Go ahead, Troy.
Breckner Catalan, dub to EA Play. For €4, I got to play FIFA 22 for over 100 hours. That's some nice time, money spent value.
Yeah. For the first time in a long time, I don't have to do conversions. Dollars and euros are the same right now. I don't have to do any conversions right now. Question of the week last week, do you have any interest in Ubisoft's Skull and Bones? Why or why not? Takao throwing in chat, not overly interested in Skull and Bones, but if it's on Game Pass or something, I'll give it a look, if for no other reason than to what damn near decade-old DLC turned standalone game looks like. Yeah, pretty much. Tamberlane Arcadia on YouTube says, as someone who loved Black Flag's ship combat, I would have given Skull and Bones a shot, but with them cutting the campaign, they lost me. I need a little more structure in my sandboxes. Which I think is a weird sentence. I need a little more structure in my sandboxes. But I'm totally with you. Yeah, I definitely did lose. I'm still interested and more interested than I was a few months ago. But it's very tempered because I do like a little bit of a narrative going through things, even if it is looser and more open world. Go ahead, Troy.
Box said, literally forgot the game existed until the reveal event. Personally doesn't have me hooked in any way at this point, since it comes off as a means to recoup money lost in development. Rather stick to Sea of Thieves for my pirate fix.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to see that they have to release this, and so they got to get some of this money back. I can see why you might feel that way. Go ahead, Anthony.
RS Jabber says, Black Flag was hands down my favorite Assassin's Creed game ever. Remember seeing some trailer or teaser of Skull and Bones years ago, and it got me interested. But now it's an obvious cash grab to make up for those millions of dollars wasted on development. Also, it's Ubisoft, aka Crunch, abuse, sexual harassment, and shutting down services of older titles that are not profitable anymore, not buying even on sale. And this segues into the Ubisoft news going on right now. The whole, taking the I forget which Assassin's Creed game.
Okay, so that's not true, by the way. It was poorly worded.
Poorly wrote.
Their announcement, they're shutting off. We talked about it on last week's show that they're shutting off like the multiplayer / DLC online stuff for like 15 or 16 older games. We talked about that. But there was some reporting based on a very poorly worded thing that Ubisoft did, that one of their Assassin's Creed things on Steam was just going to be totally unplayable, and it had just been on sale on the Steam sale. So people were pissed. So Ubisoft did have to come out and say, okay, no. We're talking about the multiplayer servers / DLC stuff. That part still sucks, but it doesn't nuke a game that you had bought, if that's what you were going to talk about.
Yeah, I know about the update. It's just that it's so interesting to know that like there's like things like that happening, like taking things away from like digitally bought games and so on and so forth. Especially just like DLC and stuff like that.
Yeah, Sony's looking at doing it with a few movies and TV shows in like Austria and Germany. We talked about that on Gaming Gumbo.
Ubisoft needs to pay attention to 2 out of 3 comments mention Black Flag when people talk pirates.
Yep.
Like that was a very popular game, still is a very popular game.
Yep.
Do something with that.
Question of the week this week. Are you looking forward to Blue Protocol or Tower of Fantasy more? You may be looking forward to both, that's fine, but you got to pick one. Which one more? And I know they're going to be in kind of different genres, but who cares? Have some fun. Which one are you looking forward to more, and why? Also, give us your weekly bomb, dub bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or just life in general, and let us know how many of our 7 fake headlines and real headlines you got right in the comments. We'll be back next week on Friday as normal, twitch.tv/MMOBomb at 1 p.m. Eastern. Until then, Anthony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter at JonesWriter. I want to be a little bit more active on that side, so follow me, and I want you to, spruce up some content.
Troy.
On Twitter at NoobFridge. What I post is pretty random, so you're just going to get my thoughts.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at magicman1, but more importantly, follow at mmobum. That way you'll know every time we go live with a podcast, first look video, giveaway, interview, articles, and so much more. Until next week, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers. Later.